Hiya, Casey.
Hi, Tony.
You want to talk about two people having existential crises?
Sure, Tony.
It's time to hack the movies.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hack the Movies. We did the Barbenheimer double feature.
Double feature, the only way to do it.
That was a weird experience, like, just for like the world.
For the world, but it was such a great day.
It was like, I know some people are tired of the meme and everything, but it was actually really cool to see because this summer has had a bunch of flops.
Yeah. Wait, first off, Tony, you look great.
Thank you.
I really like your outfit.
Thank you.
We're on theme. We're on brand.
As soon as I got the hat, I sent you the picture. I made it all black and white, looking like Oppenheimer.
Perfect.
Yeah, so this summer's been a little disappointing box office wise for a lot of movies.
Yeah.
I mean, some movies did well. You had your Fast X, stuff like
that's
that.
True. The action
But
movies.
The Flash bombed really hard. Thank God Warner Brothers put this movie out.
Yeah.
What's it called? Indiana Jones?
Indiana Jones.
Huge flop. Yes, apparently Casey had a Shia LaBeouf action figure, which we could have used for Crystal Skull.
Yeah.
But we have it now.
We had to use it somehow. It made its way onto the set.
Yes. What else flopped? There was
Insidious, did that flop? That's the only one I've seen.
No, Insidious, because those movies, I did a whole video recently on like film budgets being too high.
Okay.
And how horror is kind of immune because their budgets are so low.
Mm-hmm.
So they always turn a profit.
That's true.
Someone accused me of ripping off another channel.
Why?
They're like, Double Toasted said the same thing. And I'm like, okay. And then I linked them to articles with a bunch of people saying the same thing for over the last 2 years. I'm like, maybe more than one person noticed this phenomenon and decided to do a video
Yeah,
on
I've never
it.
even heard of that. So.
I've seen one Double Toasted video in my entire life. They seem nice. They seem good.
Cool.
But anyway, there's so many flops. Mission Impossible wasn't like a big flop, but it definitely didn't perform the way they wanted to.
Really?
I think, and we probably already said this in our live episode, we're filming this the night of our live episode, but when this comes out, the live episode already came out. There were 2 movies this year that were part 1s.
Okay.
That I don't think people realized. Fast X was a part 1.
Are these spoilers?
No, it's just not really.
Okay.
And then the new Spider-Man cartoon was a part 1. So by the time Mission Impossible at least said part 1.
Yep.
And I think people were like, I'll just wait till the second one.
For sure. But this was the event of the century.
That's the craziest thing. Suddenly, Barbenheimer, the memes were so strong that we were not the only ones doing double features.
I know. And when did it come out that they were both being released on the same day?
Like a year ago.
Okay, so that's
like
when the hype started.
People were afraid that they were going to move the date of one of them.
Okay.
And like the internet was like, no, please don't.
No.
And thank God they didn't.
Right.
I honestly don't think Oppenheimer would have done as well as it did if it wasn't for this phenomenon. Because
Interesting.
the last 2
Phenomenon.
Nolan films, we'll get to it when we talk
I
about
love
Oppenheimer. The last 2 Nolan films
That's true.
weren't like great, and
Yeah.
it's a 3-hour movie, so there's less screen times that you could do. But
Good point.
everyone wanted to do the double feature. So
Yeah,
both,
we saw a few people in ours.
yeah, both movies did extremely well.
Yeah.
Barbie obviously did better. Again, it's a shorter movie, more screen time. But like Oppenheimer I think it overperformed what they thought it was going to do.
Amazing. And with Barbie, though, we had less of an audience in that one than Oppenheimer.
Well, we saw that earlier.
Yeah, we saw the matinee.
We saw the matinee. And like, it's kind of crazy because it's actually not like bringing people together, but I think it's exposing a lot of people to movies they otherwise would not have watched.
And it totally brought people back to the movie theater. And
That's
like, people
true.
were dressing up. It was
Yeah,
just,
we were one of them.
we were one of them. And that's how we knew that people did the double feature because people were in pink at Oppenheimer.
Yeah. So it was kind of cool because like, I mean, if I didn't have a show where I talk about movies, I probably would not have rushed out of the theater to see Barbie. I probably would have seen it eventually.
Yes, you would have had to.
Maybe.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to take a wild guess and say that you probably had no desire to see Oppenheimer outside of this meme.
I had no idea that Oppenheimer was going to happen. But why do you assume that?
I don't know. I didn't think that movie looked like it was up your alley.
Definitely not.
Because originally you were going to see Barbie and I was going to see Oppenheimer, but then we saw like
Yeah.
this whole double feature
That's
thing. I'm like,
right.
I think we have to see both.
Yeah, we even did a poll on who would want to, like, who'd you want to see review it. But it was almost like 50-50, so that's where Barbenheimer came.
But yeah, I feel like a lot of men are seeing Barbie who
Yeah.
wouldn't, and actually, well, we'll talk about the people who aren't enjoying it. And I feel like a lot of women who probably wouldn't see a 3-hour-long biopic
Right.
with a bunch of science jargon are actually seeing it, and they're like liking it.
That's great.
Yeah,
Great
so it's like,
exposure.
okay, wow, people are getting outside of they're in the theaters,
Yes.
and they're getting outside their comfort zones. You don't see that often. They're already trying to manufacture another one, though.
Of Oppenheimer?
Yeah, apparently Wonka and Napoleon are coming out at the same time. And they're
Do you
trying
mean
to
they're trying to do another double feature like it?
Yeah, but the
Oh.
internet's trying to force another meme. I'm like, sorry,
come on, no.
Wonkpolian isn't as funny. It's,
Yeah, it's nothing like that.
this was so, like, this is lightning in a bottle. I mean, it might
Yeah.
happen again, but it's going to be a while. You can't
So you
manufacture this.
if they heard that coming from you, that's such a compliment. Lightning in a bottle.
The funny
Love
thing
it.
is, like, Christopher Nolan kind of ended his partnership with Warner Brothers and went to
Right.
Universal.
Yes.
But, like, because of this meme, he is helping their movie, and their movie is helping him. And I'm like, wow, he really can't escape their
Aw.
grasp, can he?
No.
But yeah, we gotta. This is probably gonna be different than most reviews because we're not gonna go super. We're gonna talk about the plots, but
Yeah.
because it's 2 movies, we kind of have to condense it. I just want to talk about like the overall thing.
So much to talk about, though. I'm
Fir-
so excited.
Yeah, first off, we saw Barbie,
Barbie.
Mattel's Barbie. Took a while for this movie to get made.
14 years, apparently.
Yeah, there was some. So Amy Schumer was originally attached.
Yes. Was she the first option? Or
Yes,
choice? Yes.
she was
okay.
writing it. She was going to star in it and produce it.
What? She was writing it? Oh,
Yeah.
my.
So here's the thing, though. I've seen some like not misreporting, but people on Twitter clearly aren't reading the full articles. And they're like, she didn't like the way the studio was going to do it. She probably wanted to make it all feminist because the movie apparently was not feminist.
Not enough.
No, but like I read the actual article. She was going to do it with Sony.
Mm-hmm.
And Sony makes a lot of bad decisions, Casey.
Oh.
Like making movies about Spider-Man characters without Spider-Man. Morbius. That was a hit. They also did Lady Ghostbusters, and when people didn't like that, they went Little Kid Ghostbusters. So Sony like gave her like horrible, like she in her version Barbie was like some kind of inventor or something, and they were like, what if she made like a high heel out of Jello or something?
Oh, that's weird.
And apparently Amy Schumer was like, you know what? I don't think I'm right for this.
Okay.
So then it ended up going to Warner Brothers. Mattel went to Warner Brothers.
Uh-huh.
That's where Greta Gerwig comes in.
I know Anne Hathaway was a choice at one point
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
But Gerwig is the one who wrote and directed this.
Yes.
Yes.
But she wasn't the first person to be.
She wasn't the first
Okay,
person.
got
who,
it.
who was originally? Oh,
No, I'm asking
Oh
you.
yeah. Amy Schumer.
was Amy
I mean,
Schumer.
there were probably a bunch, but Amy
Yeah.
Schumer was the one that they reported on in 2016,
Okay.
and then that kind of died. And then I guess Sony lost it, and Warner Brothers picked it up. And
Yeah, I would hope that would have been very different for Amy Schumer. Different. I don't know. I feel like it could have came out even more raunchy than it was.
Yeah, I can see that. But yeah, so Greta Gerwig directed this and wrote it with her husband.
That's her husband?
Yes.
Oh, I
He is
didn't know that.
He is also a writer and director. Now, Casey, what is your previous exposure to Greta Gerwig? Because you know what mine is.
Oh, yes.
What have you
Well,
seen?
mine, though, of course, when I think of Greta Gerwig, I think of Lady Bird.
The dog from King of the Hill?
No! I don't even remember her name, the actress's name, to be honest.
Oh God, was that Soror?
Yes.
Yeah, I can never
That
pronounce her
word.
name.
Yeah.
Yeah, my previous exposure to Greta Gerwig is that she was the roommate in House of the Devil who got shot in the face.
Mm-hmm.
Are you not the babysitter?
No, I'm not the babysitter. My friend.
That's it.
It all comes back to horror.
Yeah, her husband, I think, wrote or at least co-wrote some Wes Anderson movies, so I was more familiar with him. But I haven't seen anything he's directed, so
Okay.
I went in kind of fresh to this.
Well, that's nice that they did it together.
Yeah.
fun.
And I didn't know what to expect with this movie.
You didn't?
No, I didn't. I kind of assumed it would be kind of like we've had a couple movies like this recently, like a Lego movie, Wreck-It Ralph, where it's like here's this fantastical character having to see
Those
what
are
the-
animation.
Yeah, but like the story wise, it's
Okay.
like, hey, I'm a character that's designed for one single purpose, but now I have free will and I'm exploring what the real world's like. That
Yeah.
kind of story.
Right.
And I did get that a little bit, but yeah, I ended up enjoying it way
good.
more than I thought I
Yes,
would.
and you're in between me and Crystal for the
Yes,
movie.
okay. So,
Well, we could get to that if you want to towards the end.
yeah, I guess we'll get to that. So,
But when the word about this movie came out, my film friends and I, like the whole big thing was, oh my gosh, Margot Robbie has a secret anonymous alias on Letterboxd. So we got to see the movies that she was watching for Barbie.
oh.
Yeah, so I'll send that to you.
Nice.
I know one of them was The Truman Show
Oh, yeah.
and Splash. Like those are to name a few.
Okay.
So that really made me
She better not
excited.
watch the Disney Plus version of Splash.
Is that out yet?
No. The original movie's on Disney Plus.
It's nudity. There's nudity in it.
No, that's what I'm getting to. They used the censored version for like TV, so they digitally made Daryl Hannah's hair longer to cover up her butt.
On Disney Plus.
Yeah. That's the version that's on Disney Plus.
Okay, because the when I watched it,
Yeah.
no, when I watched it originally on Disney Plus, I'm sure they like fixed it, but there was nudity, and I was on a plane watching that. That was embarrassing.
That's like the only thing I can remember from Splash, to be honest.
Yeah,
Daryl
but that's
Hannah's
good that they
butt.
did that for Disney Plus.
Well, you should have the option if you're home alone. Like, okay, I don't really want to watch the censored version.
It's just hair, Tony.
Yeah, but it's weird CGI hair that's
Okay,
like
I have to
sticking
rewatch
to her
it.
butt. I'm like, that's not how hair works. I'm sorry.
Not in the ocean.
No, it's when she's running up on land with her
Oh.
butt out. The hair is like, it looks so
Oh, I gotta
awkward.
watch it.
looks
Put
so
it in.
awkward. Anyway, yeah, I'll cut to the clip. Yeah, I very much enjoy this film. It's more clever than I thought
Okay.
it would be. Me personally, I think it dragged a little bit toward the end, but overall, I had a really, really good time with it. What did you think?
Yeah, because especially in the beginning, I thought it moved fairly quickly, like just
Yeah.
hitting every mark. Well,
Yeah.
for the most part. And in the beginning, beginning spoilers. It starts with the Space Odyssey clip, which I did not expect at all. I thought they
Yeah.
had originally made that only for the teaser
For the
trailer.
teaser, yeah.
So it was fun that it started out that way.
So you know that was a very obvious reference to 2001: A Space Odyssey,
Yes.
right?
Uh-huh.
Yes, pretty obvious. Even if you've never seen that movie, you've probably seen that movie parodied a million times.
Oh, come on.
No. Some people on the internet are idiots, and they totally misinterpreted that scene.
Really?
Yeah. So the beginning, it says like, for a long time, little girls only had baby dolls,
Uh-huh.
and they make a point to say like, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, options would be nice. So yeah, then like Barbie shows up like the monolith in 2001, and it like awakens the stuff in them, and they decide they're gonna smash the baby dolls. Much like in 2001, the 8 men,
Yeah.
they see the monolith and they're like, hey, instead of just like picking bones for scraps, we can actually do something. It's like, it's very obvious.
Well, it's cute.
Some guy on Twitter thought that scene meant that it was anti-family and was forcing little girls to reject wanting children, and the babies being smashed was symbolism of that. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, no, that wasn't. No, it was very obviously a 2001 thing. It's a very obvious scene.
Yeah.
But getting back to what I said about the filmmakers, they're like, I see so many of these guys being like, the movie's anti-man, anti-family, and I'm like, Greta Gerwig is a mother of 2. She wrote it with her husband. The movie has
Yes.
a very important like mother-daughter
Oh, you just gave me chills.
with a present father, by the way. I mean, he's a little oblivious.
Oh, yeah,
of the
we'll get
script.
into it.
But like it's not what these people are saying. Is like, guys, I don't think you're actually watching the movie.
It's really all in good fun.
Yeah, it really is. And like I said, no, we'll skip that.
Yeah.
We'll
But with
get-
that
we'll
first
get-
scene,
we'll get to that.
so when the
Yeah.
teaser trailer came out, I was in Disney with my
Yeah.
sister,
Yeah.
and my sister's boyfriend texted her and was like, "Oh my gosh, did you see the teaser trailer for Barbie?" And he was like, "Do you know what that's from?" And Carrie's like, "Do you know what this is from?" And I was like, "That's 2001:
Yeah.
Space Odyssey." And then she texted it to him thinking it's her,
Yeah.
and then he's like, "That is so hot. That's so hot that you know that." Like, Casey knew that.
Like it's again, it's one of those movies you don't even have to have seen it. It's been parodied.
Right.
So like, look, off the top of my head, I don't think I've ever seen Streetcar Named Desire.
Okay.
But I know Marlon Brando going,
Yeah,
Stella!
Stella!
And
Warner
if I see
Brothers.
it, because I'm like, oh yeah, I've seen that parody and I know what that
yeah,
is.
Warner Brothers movie also.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's also been a while since we've had a fun fish out of water story, and those are my favorite kind of movies.
They are pretty fun. Yes. I like those kinds of movies.
Yeah.
They can be hit or miss sometimes, though.
Where this one, it was a hit, a box office hit and everything.
Yeah.
I think they said that they were writing it in 2020.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's when this movie probably should have came out rather than now. I know it took a while, but it's like, okay. You know
what?
Go for it.
I like the cartoony nature and feel of Barbie World.
Yes.
Because the cheesy effects worked.
Uh-huh.
This this is the one movie this year that I watched where like the visual effects weren't taking me out of it.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of these movies that were filmed during COVID are coming out now, and some of them are like again, I probably already said about
Jeepers Creepers 4.
Huh?
Jeepers Creepers 4.
No, I think that's a different scenario. I think that's related to budget. But I did a video a while back with my friend Yoshi Vu, who works in the industry, and we were talking about like some of the reasons visual effects of movies now look really rough.
Yeah.
But yeah, that COVID era movies that were like not so much movies that were filmed during the COVID era, but the ones that like had to stop and start up again.
That's true.
Because Mission Impossible, like usually Mission Impossible movies have great effects, and that last one, as much as I liked it, there were a few scenes where I'm like, ooh, this must have been when they picked up filming again, when everything was like,
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to like the post-COVID era of movies.
Oh, I love that.
But this is one movie where there's like a ton of visual effects,
It
but
looks
since it's like a cartoony atmosphere, I'm like, oh, I kind of like this.
It's so visually compelling.
It looked like it was on a soundstage. I'm sure the backgrounds were
course it was.
digital to a point, but I'm like, wow, this looks fun.
I'm pretty sure she wanted it to look like that.
Yeah.
And through Greta Gerwig's Letterboxd list, she goes all the way back to the classic films, like Singing in the Rain, Wheels of Desire, His Girl Friday, like not really a ton of modern films except for like The Truman Show.
Yeah, yeah. I love the look of it. So yeah, the movie talks about how Barbie changed the world.
Yeah.
Or how they
in the beginning.
how they think Barbie changed the world.
Right.
Now, don't get hung up on like they even make fun of like the whole Barbie land thing. They're like, wait, is this a physical place or in her imagination? And the one guy just goes, yes. Like he doesn't actually answer the
It's
question.
a movie making fun of itself. Like,
Yeah.
they don't take themselves too seriously.
No, it doesn't take
which
itself
is
seriously.
fun.
Yeah, whenever it like starts to take itself seriously, it will sprinkle in a little bit of humor, but not in like an annoying way.
Right. So the plot of this movie. So
Yes.
as soon as Margot Robbie meets Kate McKinnon's character, Weird Barbie, which I thought was genius.
Yeah.
The plot is like, it's written out for you. So they tell you that, okay, so whoever's playing, so Barbie's feeling depressed and anxious and really sad, and she's developing human qualities. And then Weird Barbie lets her know it's not you, it's whoever's playing with you. It's your owner. So I'm like, okay, this is it. So they're going to go to the real world. She's going to find her owner, see what's wrong, and she's going to help out her owner.
Yeah.
Do they continue that plot? No.
They kind of do.
But there's,
they throw a twist in, but yeah.
Yeah, we'll get,
Yeah.
So, but the thing is, her owner turns out to be America Ferrera, who's an adult, but she doesn't really give us why. We don't really learn why she's upset or why she's depressed. Everything that I see where she could be feeling that way is coming from her daughter, who's kind of reflecting this modern age feminism.
Yeah.
We don't have to delve into that if you don't want to.
No, we can a little
but
bit.
like, she even has like a supportive husband that it seems like you mentioned. He is only in like 2 scenes. But it's like, okay, so she's not even a single mother. So what's going on? Like, why is she upset?
Well, I mean,
not that single mothers are upset.
This movie, like the target really, I know it's advertised and might look like it's for little girls, but I feel like it's like women who are like our age or older, looking back, being nostalgic about stuff in their past.
For sure.
And where they feel where they are in the world right now.
Yes.
And like you said, she has a job. She's successful, but maybe because her love of Barbie, she thought she was going to do all this stuff, and then she just kind of turned out average.
Yeah.
And she was happy with it until her daughter, which, teenage daughters and moms, that's a rough period. I have mostly female cousins and my sister, and I've witnessed what happens when girls hit the teenage years with their moms. It's rough. I don't know how it was for you, but it can be rough.
Yeah.
And this movie kind of goes into that.
This movie definitely made me want to call my mom after, just as much as Terrifier 2 made me want to call my mom after.
Same movie as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, so Barbie, like you said, Barbie is having this crisis. She's like thinking about death.
Yeah.
Like her feet are now flat.
Flats.
which the internet is having a lot of fun with Margot Robbie's feet.
On Wiki Feet.
I don't know
Perfect
why. I'm in a
5.
lot of asshole film groups with film bros, and I love it. It's fun, but they're all feet guys. I have seen, and I'm not a foot guy. I have seen
Okay.
so much of Margot Robbie's feet, more than I've ever wanted to
Wow.
see over the last year. And then, like in the movie, there's so many close-ups, and I'm like, oh god, guys are gonna love this fucking movie. Even if they're online pretending they don't, they're gonna love this goddamn movie.
They're her feet.
Yeah. But also, you got to think, like, there is a fun parallel, which I didn't really think about till later. So, yeah, America Ferrera feels kind of lost in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
But remember, Barbie, the Barbie that we are following, is stereotypical Barbie.
Yes.
Every other Barbie has, like, a thing that they do.
Uh-huh.
Like, I'm science Barbie, I'm journalist Barbie, but she's just like, I'm the stereotypical Barbie.
Did you mind that they called her stereotypical?
No, I don't mind.
Okay, I was thinking maybe original or classic, but I guess stereotypical
Yeah.
is fine.
I could have said generic Barbie. Like, I'm just the Barbie that does whatever. One thing that I loved is that, like, all the Barbies in the movie were real Barbies, and they show some of, like, the weird and problematic ones.
Yeah,
like, they
which
weren't
is
as
fine.
they're like, look at this messed up Barbie. I love it. By the way, Helen Mirren is the narrator.
Yes.
Really good. Speaking of flops for Warner Brothers, she was the bad guy in Shazam 2, and that movie flopped.
I didn't see it.
Wasn't even bad. It just no one saw it. Helen Mirren's pretty great. She's like introducing the world of Barbie, but like they get to the pregnant one, and she's like, "Actually, don't show her. We discontinued her because pregnant Barbies are weird." I remember one of my little cousins had one of those. I don't know if it was a Barbie, but it was one of those pregnant dolls. It
Yeah.
was like, but like the baby was in her stomach, and you could take her stomach off.
I
and
think
take the,
so.
Yeah, that was weird.
That is weird.
That was. I agree with the movie. That was weird.
It's weird, and they're just saying it's weird. There's nothing diving deep into that either, which I've
Yeah.
also seen.
Well, they make fun. There's one later where, like, what was it, Skipper? You can make her boobs bigger, and they kind of
Yeah.
point. And then Sugar Daddy, and he's like,
Yeah,
no, no,
what
no,
the
no, no.
heck?
See, my dog, his name is Sugar, and I'm his
Uh-huh.
daddy. It's like, oh yeah, I like that Mattel was a little self-aware. It's like, yeah, in our past we did some pretty messed up Barbies. I didn't realize the pooping dog Barbie was real.
Oh.
So the
I
pooping
don't
dog
even
is
remember
real, and then I looked up what it was, and there was literally a poop scoop Barbie.
There we go.
She came with that dog and a pooper scooper and a trash can. I'm like, what the? How many Barbies are there?
A lot of research was done for this film.
Yes.
A lot. Well, we have our Barbies. Film
Yes, we have
director
filmmaker,
Barbies.
and which one's that again?
Film director.
Film director.
So this was the original one, 2015, and then that was the reproduction of it.
Nice. Actually, before we started recording, Kieran, friend of the show, Kieran, he texted me a picture he found at a thrift store, and it was the only Barbie and Ken I've ever wanted. It was the X-Files movie Barbie and Ken. I remember being a kid and being like,
That's so
I know
sweet.
I don't like Barbie. I was indifferent to Barbies.
Yes.
I had a little sister. They made Aladdin. We played Aladdin and stuff. Like, I played with Barbies as a
That's
kid.
sweet, Tony.
But, like, they weren't, like, my toy of choice. It's like if I was playing with my sister. But I remember being like, well, they don't really... Well, they did make X-Files movie stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't get those. But I'm just like, you know, if I ever wanted a Barbie, I'd want the Mulder and Scully Barbie
Absolutely.
and Ken.
The price seemed pretty reasonable, too.
Yeah, it did. I'm actually going to... He told
You
me...
should go over and get it.
He told me where it was. I need the name of the store. I might go over and
you
get it.
should. Should we talk about Ken?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, Tony.
yeah.
Tony was milking this. I love it.
I loved Ken in this. So the Barbie world is pretty funny because it's kind of like, not so much the opposite, but like the Kens are second-rate citizens. They are just accessories to Barbie. They also have no like free will or desire.
Mm-hmm.
Their day just goes based on like if Barbie's paying attention to them. Yes, his job is beach.
I love
It's
it.
not very specific. He's not a lifeguard. He makes sure to say that. Apparently, they really wanted Ryan Gosling.
Yes. They bribed him, apparently.
Yeah, apparently, like Margot Robbie was like blowing up his phone and stuff. I think she said she was just going to go to his house, and I think
Yeah.
Greta Gerwig was like, "Please don't go to Ryan Gosling's house." He nailed it.
He did.
That was so funny, and like, my previous expectation for Ken, even though it's a movie I don't like, I loved Ken in it. Toy Story 3, Michael Keaton is
yeah.
Ken. I'm actually sad Michael Keaton's not in this.
Oh,
He was
I really don't think.
probably, oh, you know why? Even though he was working at Warner Brothers for The Flash, because he voiced Ken in a Disney movie.
Oh.
Maybe that would have been like a conflict.
Yeah. Do you really think they thought about having him in this?
That would
Considered
have.
it?
He should have been. No.
Don't.
He should have been Sugar Daddy Ken. It would have
That
been a
would've been cool.
cameo.
A little cameo.
It would have been a cameo. He's an older
Okay.
guy. It would have been funny. Just because Toy Story 3, I hate it. But I thought the Ken and Barbie stuff was like the funniest part.
Yeah. And a lot of people are saying like they're belittling Ken a little bit too. But I watched some of the cartoons, well, the animation, because I was writing a script for Barbie. And honestly, like that's how he is in the cartoons.
Yeah.
They're not like a couple, they're friends.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because it's like for little girls who aren't really dating yet.
Yes. So that was where I know you said some men are like really mad about this movie.
Yeah.
But I did watch one of theirs and they did have a good point on who the target audience was for this film because we even had a little girl next to us.
Yeah.
She was totally giggling when Ken had his shirt off, which I thought was so pure and innocent. She was like, oh my gosh. Like, it was the cutest thing ever. But even like a few people I know like took their grandkids to see this movie and it, of course, it flew over their heads a bit.
Yeah.
But what do you think the target... I think you were right about the target audience being, like, people our age.
Yeah, that's clearly what the filmmakers were going for.
Yes.
I don't know. For me, I feel like this is a good, like, family movie for, like, mother and daughters.
Yes. Mother and daughter.
Yeah, I think little kids aren't going to get much out of it because they're
No.
not exposed to a lot of this. But, I mean, it might get them to think about stuff in the future. Or they're just going to look at the pretty cars and the colors and whatnot.
Yeah, I think that's what makes it
I
so
feel like
fun.
they'll enjoy it. It's a good family film is one that could be enjoyed on multiple levels.
Mm-hmm.
That's my only issue at the end because like the ending, I'm like, okay, I feel like you got to dumb this down for the little girls. I don't think they're gonna pick up
Oh
on a
my
lot
gosh,
of
I know.
this. I mean, I'm liking it and whatnot, but like I feel like
Yeah.
little girls might miss out on it.
Exactly. So that's also another point I wanted to make with... Even you had to explain it to me, the Shining reference. Like,
Yeah.
I thought Shining could have been a new word that teens are using because I didn't even understand why that reference was in the movie.
Yeah.
As well as, like, we appreciate the Godfather joke as well
Yeah.
and the Space Odyssey, but kids, of course, aren't going to get it.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you why it was in the movie.
What?
Well, one, because it was a joke about being psychically linked.
Well, yes.
Which is what The Shining is. And also, The Shining is part of Warner Brothers Discovery's film archive catalog. Much like The
so Warner
Godfather.
Brothers- yes, both. Right,
Warner Brothers
but-
loves to reference their own movies in their movies. It's
Touche.
really annoying.
But do you remember, like, what previews we had? I don't even know if we saw quite a bit of them.
I can't remember a single preview.
I can't either, but the people that I've watched, they said that it's like for Trolls 2, there were previews that were aimed for children.
Yeah.
That's why I'm
Well, the movie is PG-13.
Yeah.
Yeah, which doesn't matter. I hate film ratings. But yeah, I can see like if you just wanted to just entertain your kid, they might be confused by some of the stuff.
Yeah.
But like you said, and you have one right there, there are plenty of Barbie movies for little girls available on
are.
home video. There is no shortage of Barbie movies. This is all right. So this movie is for like women like you or a little bit older, and for the kids, they just want to see the stuff and then they want to go out and buy it. So it's hitting on two different things. They're like, oh, do you not get the message? That's fine. Did you like her car? You could go buy it now at the toy store.
Yeah, and what I just love is that every woman I talk to are like, I'm dressing in pink. I'm getting all my girlfriends together and we're going
Yeah.
to go see this movie. And it was women of all ages.
Yeah.
Which was super fun.
Yeah.
I had another point.
Okay. While you're doing that, speaking
Yes.
of target demographic, a movie that really missed the mark with its target demographic that came out in the last few years, the new Power Rangers.
I
That-
love that movie.
The newest one,
Well, yeah.
the reboot, right? From
Yeah, like
2017.
it was like Breakfast Club vibes.
Here's the thing. No. I like that movie too.
Yeah.
The Zords and the monsters sucked, but I could get past that.
Okay.
I like that movie too. I like the connection with the friends and whatnot, but I'm like, yeah, but Power Rangers, your target demographic is
Adults.
no. Like to sell toys and stuff, you're trying to get the interest of little kids, and little kids were so bored. But they're not in their suits for an hour. They're like,
Yeah, it's Breakfast Club vibes.
yeah, I'm like, I mean, yeah, that's the thing. I'm like, this movie's good. I like it, but like, you should have known that this was not going to do well
No,
financially.
I'm really sad about that one because I
Yeah.
wanted to see Tommy,
Yeah,
but I liked how he was included in the ending.
yeah,
I remembered my point. There's a whole commentary in this film, like I said, that it could have came out a while ago. I personally am not sure if Barbie was the right way to go about it. I think it could have been a whole entirely different movie.
yes, but you got to sell these toys, so
But
it
we
had to be
gotta
Barbie.
sell a toy. See,
No,
this is where You got to come in and let me know.
Yeah, no,
Got to break it down for reality.
I have
me.
a problem with like some movies that are like that, where I'm like, this would have been a good movie on its own. Like, the one I always bring up is Joker with Joaquin Phoenix. I thought that was a really good movie, but the whole time I'm sitting there, I'm like, what the fuck does this have to do with this is not the Joker I know.
Yeah.
I'm like, by the way, Bruce Wayne, like, that Joker's pushing 60. Bruce Wayne in that movie's 8. I'm like, by the time that kid's Batman, this is going to be a real easy Joker to take care of. He's going to just trip down the stairs and he's done. But I'm like, I feel like this could have been a movie about a depressed clown. But would it have made $1 billion? No, because it said Joker. They're like, well, I got to go see that. Same thing with Barbie. Would you have seen a movie of just, I'm Doll Lady in Doll World? Like, people probably wouldn't have gone out to the theater for that.
No, but I would have seen a movie where her owner is upset and she needs to help her.
Yes, but would that movie have made $480 million in its first week?
But that's the whole plot, and they didn't even go about it. And what makes me really sad is that I wrote the same movie. I swear, I wrote it years ago. I wrote the same exact movie. She took the same inspirations from my movie, Wings of a Desire and Heaven Can Wait.
Yeah.
And it makes me sad.
Look,
I'm just venting.
There's a lot of movies that did stuff that I wanted to do, and I'm just like, what are you going to do? Good for them, I guess.
Yeah, but it just goes to show how you could take this idea and how someone could totally make it their own.
Yeah. And like, by the way, you get back to Ken. All the Kens, they're just so funny. I'm sorry, like, I know the guys are like, it makes a joke of men. It's like, yeah, well, here, guys, and I am one. We could be kind of annoying and assholes sometimes. I don't know if you know that, but men could be kind of annoying.
Okay, yeah.
But no, Ken nails it. I love that because they exist in Barbie Land, which is mostly from the imaginations of little girls. I love he's like, maybe I could stay over. And she's like, and do what? And he's like, and he just goes, I actually don't know, because they're not aware of like what sex is or anything.
Yeah, that's so sweet. But they do talk about the genitalia.
Yeah, because they don't have them.
They don't have it.
Which leads to the ending joke, which again, the internet totally misinterpreted. But yeah, no, they're second-rate citizens. They have nothing, they don't really participate in politics or anything. So it is kind of fun when Barbie goes to the real world and sees that it's kind of the reverse. But also, like, they made a point. Like, I love my whole plot in this. My whole favorite plot line is Ken discovering what the patriarchy is. Oh my gosh. But not actually understanding what it is. Because I love what he's like. He sees that men are everywhere and have all these positions. And at one point he goes, wow, men could just get whatever they want. And there's a guy going like, well, not so much these days. It's actually kind of the opposite because so many things are changing. And he just totally ignores the guy. I'm like, well, they did address it. And he does talk to a woman doctor. He's like, can I talk to a doctor? She's like,
you are talking to a doctor.
I need a clicky pen?
No.
A sharp thing?
No.
There he is. Doctor!
Somebody get security.
And then he's upset to find out that it's not really about horses.
yeah, that's the funniest thing. So when I was watching the film and I saw him get all the patriarchy stuff and bring it back to Barbie Land, I leaned over the crystal and I said, oh, thank God, he's going to save him. She didn't enjoy my commentary.
I thought it was
movie.
hilarious, Tony.
Yeah, but he just liked the horses and the trucks and stuff. He didn't care so much about like all the other shit.
But I heard another like review say that it really, because I know that people are upset with how they're depicting men, but it's literally just how like, say you and your sisters, like when you're little, you're playing with your dolls and everything, and then the boy comes and kicks it, something like that. Just boys being boys.
Yeah,
like,
ew.
ew.
He's actually getting a lot of shit from Ethan Van Sciver, I think is the guy you're talking about.
I don't know.
So Ethan Van Sciver, he was a comic guy.
Uh-huh.
He worked in the comics industry. He left it. He's very right-leaning. I don't even really agree with a lot of the stuff he says, but I like how he argues his points. And he's getting just grilled by his fans for saying he likes this movie. And he's just like, no, guys, you gotta like, I'm glad he's going, because like we have a problem with echo chambers on the internet.
Yeah.
People don't like, it's like, well, you can't just live in an echo chamber. He's like, guys, this is like for women and their point of view. You don't have to like it.
No.
But it's not like this thing. He mentions that. It's like, yeah, it's from a girl's point of view. Like, she doesn't want boys invading her space.
Yeah,
like, but like the movie's, it's not anti-man. And
it makes me sad that some like, I'll say right-leaning women aren't even going to see it because of the reviews. Yeah. And it's like, come on now. Like,
then I saw other ones. I saw other ones who did see it and they're like, everyone's overreacting. This is fine.
Yes, exactly.
It's fine. Relax about it.
And it has a beautiful message on motherhood at the end. And I love how you called it traditional feminism because it is a commentary on that as well.
Yeah. So there was, feminism, like a lot of these movies start with we just want equality and then they kind of get lost in the weeds a little bit. Because there was a time where, like, you know, it's mostly when, like, women are in their teens that I've noticed where they're like, oh, reject family and I'm going to be this. But, like, now, like, years later, we're like, hey, you know what? It's okay if you want to be this. It's okay if you want to be a mom and whatnot. Like, the problem was that for so many years, that was women's, like, only option.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you if you want this, you can have it. But, you know, you're allowed to do these other things. And I like that the movie pointed that out. And also, so when he brings the patriarchy back, it was such a beautiful world, Barbie Land, when the patriarchy was, I'm sorry, Kendom. When Kendom was there in his casa, his Mojo Dojo
So
casa
cool.
house. All the men were getting together. It was beautiful. And then the women turn them against each other and create the first war. Like in real life. No, I like that. The idea is, so yeah, I know we're kind of all over the place, but
Like the movie.
she goes into the
movie's
real
all over
world.
the
She
place.
realizes, because the Barbies think that they changed the world for the better.
Yeah.
And everything's perfect. I loved the Venice Beach sequence. I was dying. I love when they look at the Miss Universe poster and they think it's the Supreme Court. They're like, oh, the Supreme Court's doing well.
Yeah.
But I love when Barbie's walking around. She's like, I feel like men are just like ogling my body. And she's creeped out by it. But then Ken goes, me too. And it's two gay guys who wink at him. I was the only one who laughed loud.
I think he liked that though. Didn't
No, he liked
Yeah,
because
he liked it. Okay.
I don't think he understood what was happening.
Yeah.
But like, I bursted out laughing, and I was expecting more people to laugh at that. I'm like, that's a
Right.
hilarious joke.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love the scene with her and the old lady, and the studio wanted to like remove that.
I know they did. It's oddly placed, and it's
Yeah, I can see
it could be come across a little cheesy,
Yeah,
but it could have just been somewhere else. Like, I don't know if she was needed. It could have just been with Ruth. But I'm glad it's there. That's
you
fine.
probably could have tied it into the roof thing.
Yes.
But like, but no, I liked it because Barbie's like, oh wait a minute. Like, I'm being exposed to all these new ideas and stuff. And I like that she's looking at the park. Like, some people are having fun. Some people are fighting and arguing. She's like, this is sensory overload because where she's from, everything's all bright and happy.
Yeah.
But it's not super happy because the Kens are miserable.
Right.
And so is Alan. We forgot about Alan.
Alan!
And Michael Cera is Alan, which is like a toy they made to be Ken's friend. I guess it didn't sell well.
Perfect.
We find out later that there are more than one Alan. All the other Allens escaped Barbie Land and became in sync. I love the girl looks confused and he goes, yes, even him. Even
That's perfect. I was surprised there was no Kelly. I'm pretty sure there was a Kelly Barbie.
Well, that was the weird thing. They were all called Barbies. I'm like, didn't they have like
Yeah.
different names?
Yeah, there was because someone told me I was like Kelly. Like, you're Kelly.
Yeah, some of them did have, like, there was Skipper, the pregnant one
Yeah,
had a
Skipper's
different name, but
there.
then most of them were just Barbie and Ken.
Barbie and Ken.
I was shocked at how much I ended up liking Simu Loom.
The guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His Ken, I liked him a lot.
Yeah, he was fun.
I really hated him in Shang-Chi. That movie was awful and terrible. It looked like a joke movie. I hated it. So I went in expecting not to like him. And I came out of this being like, that guy was hilarious.
Yeah, the cast was great.
That was great. I wonder what people on Reddit are saying about him. Everyone should Google Simu Loom Reddit and find out.
So by the end of the movie, I was in tears, trying to hold it back.
That's the other thing. Okay. So yeah, people are trying to make this movie real divisive, but I'm between you and Crystal, who are very different.
Yeah.
Very different people. And you guys are laughing at the same stuff and crying at the same stuff. I'm like, wow, this is actually kind of cool. Like, this is like, you know, I mean, not me. I'm a man. But,
Energy.
But, yeah, like
Energy is present.
They do make that hoodie that he wears at
Yes.
the end. I'm like, oh, fuck, I might have to get that.
I'm starting to use Kenergy in my language, in my vocabulary.
A lot of people, did you see me yelling at people?
I love it.
I
I
was just
love
like,
it, Tony.
People got so
Keep
mad
it
at me
up.
for enjoying Barbie. I'm like, wow, this guy's Kenergy levels. And then I'm like, this guy needs to be more optimistic, if you ask me.
I love it.
Yeah, the Kens go to war. And look, it is making fun of men, but like some of the stuff the Kens do are stuff that asshole men. Oh, can you just turn the movie on and talk during it? I'm like, yeah, before the show, I did that a lot. That was a problem. I'm like, yeah, guys kind of do this shit. It's fun to make fun of ourselves.
Yeah, and it's not being mean to
Yeah,
guys.
no,
I really
it's-
I didn't see it as that personally.
And like, I feel like they're all kind of like ignoring what happens at the end. Like the Barbies, Barbie realizes like, oh, I saw like how women were being treated in the real world, but how like they've also like kind of made their own place. She's like, we're kind of really mean to the Kens. And she points it out like when she brings the real people into Barbie world, they're like, where do the Kens live? And she's like, I have no idea. She's like, I honestly don't know. And she says at the end of Ken, she's like, hey, I didn't respect you. Not every night had to be girls' night. I should have appreciated you more. And then like we see that like the Kens are going to start getting some more power in Barbie world, but like at Lola, they're going to work slowly like women did in the real world. Yeah. And like, that's kind of fun. Like the movie could have just been like, men suck, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, well, it didn't.
Yeah.
And it's weird that people online are trying to like manufacture this kind of hatred. I'm like, it wasn't that bad, guys.
Mm-hmm. And the last quote was just so beautiful. And can I say it?
Yes, go ahead.
So it was, we mothers stand still so that our daughters can look back and see how far they've come. And that's where I broke down. Yeah. And that's because Ruth is pretty much the mother of Barbie, and she let her flourish out there, and she gave her memories. Like, we kind of glossed over. So
Mattel is aware of Barbie world and how it affects their products and stuff.
Yeah.
Run by Will Smith, which I was not Will Smith, Will Ferrell, not Will Smith, Will Ferrell, who again, this kind of reminded me of his character in the Lego movie, like Mr. Lord Business.
Yeah,
and like feels kind of like the same character. And I like that even they make, but they're like, yes, we have to help little girls. It's all just men on the board. It's like, hey, we had a female CEO once, and one after that, he can't remember who they are. I feel like they could have done a little bit more with them. But yeah, apparently Ruth's ghost has an office in the Mattel building where she just hangs out. I loved her at the end where she talks about like all the tax evasion she did. Yes. So they're even mentioning that. I'm like, wait, she hated the government? Little girls, this is the hero for little girls. I also hate the government and don't want to pay them. I do because I don't want to get in trouble, but I really wish I didn't. So yeah, I thought she was really hilarious. And she's like, I made you so you could be whatever you wanted to be. That was the whole point. She's like, I wanted like girls to be like, I can do this, I can do that. The
message was a little all over the place, but like just in entirety, it just really reminded me of a quote from Tommy Wiseau. It reminded me of something he would make. To be honest, it was like what he always says. Like it's like when you go to a film like this. It's, I don't even know how to say it.
Say it in Tommy Wiseau's accent.
Are you serious? This is what I took away from it, because so many people are having conflicting thoughts about this movie. But this movie is making people, if a movie can make you, if it can make you laugh, make you cry. Wait, I can't, I'm not even doing it credit. Make you laugh, make you cry, make you express yourself. Just don't hurt yourself. Was that bad?
No, that was great.
You cut that out.
Have you ever met Tommy Wiseau?
No, I haven't met him.
Oh, you ever went to a room screening?
No.
I did years ago.
That's so cool.
Yeah, my friend Anthony played football with him while they were waiting in line. He was hilarious. He did a Q&A after the movie, and he clearly wasn't paying attention to a lot of the people. And the guy goes, yeah, so there's a lot of shots of San Francisco. And what I wanted to ask was, and Tommy Wiseau just goes, oh, yeah, we all love San Francisco. Okay, next question. You know, let the guy finish his question.
Typical Tommy.
Yeah, it's getting people to talk about it. I just feel like people are attacking this movie just because they know it's the big movie. I'm like, there's probably worse movies coming out right now. Movies that probably have the stuff that you hate in it that you can be taught, but they're not the big ones that will drive traffic to your YouTube channel or your website.
It was. Go ahead.
So yeah, no, I really liked it. Again, I feel like toward the end, kind of dragged a little bit.
A little, but the ending's what tied it up for me, except the last line. I mean, the last line's funny, but...
Well, yeah, okay, so some people misinterpreted the final joke of the movie.
Oh.
Because Barbie ends up wanting to be a real woman.
Which, did you like that?
Yeah, I liked it, because remember, she was stereotypical Barbie, and she realized, like, in her world, she can only just be like, she's looking at all these other amazing Barbies who have, like...
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like, things to do. She's like, well, I don't really have that. Like, but in the real world, I can be whatever I want, which is like, the whole
I just
point.
feel bad. I feel like she didn't help America Ferrera at all, and America Ferrera just helped Barbie.
But along the way, she helped herself out.
She helped herself.
Well, it also, one thing I like about it actually does because there's been a lot of criticism of Barbie over the years, like unrealistic beauty standards and whatnot,
right?
And this and this and this, and yeah, because it became so corporate, they probably were just like, we don't really care about the message for little girls. Give her a puppy so it sells more. And like the young teenage girl calls that out, and it's like, okay, well, we don't have to we can work at making it better.
We haven't played with Barbie since we were like 5 years old. Oh.
I mean, not that in the real world I don't give a shit about Mattel and what their profit margin is, but in
Right.
the universe of the story, it's like, yeah, we can actually make this idea work. I know it's got bogged down in commercialism, but
Yeah.
maybe we can like modify it and whatnot. And it ends with the end. Like, can we just have like everyday normal woman Barbie? I did
Yeah, I like that.
I did like Will Ferrell going, that's a horrible idea. The guy's like, it'll sell well. He's like, yep, we're making it.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
But even he's not as sexist as he appears, because they're like, hey, the Ken Mojo Dojo Casa houses are selling. He's like, I didn't do this just for money. I did this to help little girls with this army of men.
It's cute. It's very on the nose, and I think that's what's upsetting
Yeah,
people.
that's another thing. It gets a little too, I don't want to say preachy. It's just, yeah, on the nose is the best way to say it. Yeah. But like I said, this is more of a movie for women and the experiences they go through, and it seemed like it worked for you. It worked for Crystal. It worked
Yeah, it was
for
cute.
pretty much anyone who doesn't have a YouTube channel that they just want to complain about stuff seems to really like it. Yeah, step outside of your comfort zone, check it out, or don't. I don't care. It's just a goddamn movie. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. There you go. Barbie. Do we have anything else to say about Barbie?
You can laugh, you can cry, you can express yourself, just don't hurt yourself.
Who was your favorite Barbie in the movie?
Oh, my favorite Barbie. I like stereotypical Barbie. She was my favorite. I was upset we didn't see film director Barbie.
Yeah, I liked. I don't know which Barbie she was, but the one played by played by Alexandra Shipp, who was Storm in the newer X-Men movies, and she was in Shaft. That girl is fucking gorgeous. How do you feel about Margot Robbie? Is she mid?
No.
That
That's a good point. I was upset that it was Margot Robbie initially. I love Margot Robbie,
Yeah.
but I did want an all-American girl to play Barbie. But then watching it, she looks exactly like Barbie, so I was okay with it.
And the movie has fun with that. Again, one of my favorite when she's having, because Barbie goes through a crisis. I forgot to mention that. Like when she sees the real world and how she didn't change it, she's like, "What is my purpose? Did I actually cause things to be worse?" And she kind of breaks down, similar to a character in another movie we're going to talk about. But I love when she's like, "I'm ugly now." She's like, she has cellulite. Her feet are fine. She's like, "And I'm ugly." And then Helen Mirren's like, "Note to the studio: Margot Robbie's not the one you get for this because she's like so insanely attractive."
Yeah, that took me out of it, but
No,
it was
guys
fine.
were trying to sabotage the movie with that shit. They were like,
What?
she's mid. And it's like, who are you fooling, dude? And they're like, maybe
No, that's
when she was in her,
ridiculous.
maybe when she was in her 20s. I hate guys that do the whole age thing. Yeah, but she's now in her late 30s. And I'm like, I saw the new Mission Impossible. Haley Atwell's in it, right? She's 40, 41. At no point in that movie did I go, ew. I'm like, no, that's the most beautiful woman I've ever
Right.
seen.
So they're making themselves look like Kens.
Yeah, they're making themselves look like real. They have low energy levels.
Low energy.
But yeah, I do think that the two Kens feud was pretty damn good.
Yeah, it was fun.
I also like Merman Ken with John Cena, who apparently they didn't think he would do that because he was filming something else. I think it was Fast X.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Hey, would you come by and be a mermaid?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he just went and did it.
So many cameos in this movie, just like the next one.
Yes. Well, the next one, yeah. These are actual cameos. The next one is just like, we got a big actor to play a bit part. I'm like, oh, okay. But yeah, Barbie, I say see it.
Yeah, go see it.
Now that we're done that, now like a real movie for men. My boy Chris is back. He's back, baby. And my co-star, Cillian Murphy, I'm pointing to his scarecrow mask. He's back, baby. Yes, Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer.
3,
Truman needs to know what's next.
2,
What's next?
1.
Based off the real J. Robert Oppenheimer, who headed the Manhattan Project that created the atom bomb. Very complicated person, and which the movie explores. And obviously, this is a true story, but it does take liberties. And actually, the Oppenheimer family is very upset with the one scene that they put in there because they're like, that didn't happen, and that's kind of messed up. But for the most part, it seems to be pretty on the level. His last biopic, or his last true story movie, was Dunkirk.
Okay.
Which I thought...
You mean Christopher Nolan?
Yeah.
Yes.
Which I thought was okay, but I never had a desire to rewatch it. I don't know how you...
Agreed. I haven't rewatched it since.
Yeah, it's just his first, like, war movie. After seeing, like, all the action and stuff he did before, I was... I don't know, I guess I had high expectations, and I'm just like...
And that was Warner Brothers.
And that was Warner Brothers. And then his last movie, Tenant, again, good stunts. He crashed a plane into a building.
Yeah.
And they were like, should we use miniatures, CGI? He's like, well, this building's set for demolition. Let's just crash a plane into it. But the story was really bad.
I couldn't get into Tenant, and that was the first movie I saw after COVID. That was the first movie back in the theater.
I didn't enjoy Tenant at all. And I pretty much liked everything he's made.
Yeah, for sure.
So I was a little let down, and I was going into this, and I'm like, I hope this is good.
Me too. I got my Barbie pink icon drink to watch for Oppenheimer.
That's right, we got the Barbie
Yeah,
drinks.
we got Barbie themed drinks at the movie theater.
So we walked in, we saw it in IMAX, not the true 70
IMAX.
Not the true 70 millimeter projection, which we wanted to do, but I did not buy tickets.
We're frauds.
Did not buy tickets on time. Sorry. Yeah, we saw it in IMAX.
Packed theater.
Yes. I loved it.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah. I didn't expect you to like it as much. You clapped at the end.
Yeah, I clapped. Someone started the clap, so you gotta clap. I'll never resist a theater clapping.
So I like the story of Oppenheimer because like it is like he was a unique guy. He built this thing and he had very conflicting thoughts about it and what it meant for humanity, and then the government kind of screwed him over for a little bit. My first exposure to this whole thing was a movie called Fat Man and Little Boy, which was the name of the two bombs. It's from 1989. It was a huge flop, but it's got a lot of actors in it. Paul Newman,
he's in it? I haven't seen it.
Paul Newman plays the Matt Damon role.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
John C. McGinley's in it. Laura Dern is in it. It's like an early Laura Dern movie.
Ooh, sounds fun.
It's a good movie. It's entertaining. It's not great. It's not the most accurate. I think I was telling you, John Cusack is like one of those composite characters.
Yes.
And the thing that happens to him in the movie in real life happened way after they dropped the bomb.
Okay.
But I remember watching that movie as a kid and being like, wow, this is actually like it actually made me look up the real story.
Oh, great.
That's my problem with I don't know how do you feel about biopics?
I love biopics, but I will say I'm not as interested in history biopics as I am like Selena or La Bamba.
Well, either way, my whole thing is like I'm weird with biopics because I'm just like, yeah, but I want to know what really happened. And then I end up reading about it or watching a documentary and I'm like, all right, I'm good. What was that movie that came out years back? The one about the guy who did the tightrope across the Twin Towers. Wire was it called? Or
I think you're
High
right.
Rise?
No, I think
Joseph
it's
Gordon-Levitt
something-
was in it. My other co-star from The Dark Knight Rises.
I think it's Wire or something.
Yeah, well, the documentary I think was called Man on a Wire. Right?
Oh, I don't know.
Either way, when the trailer
But those are cool.
when the trailer came out, I sat there and I think my sister and everyone was like, "Oh, that looks really good." And in my head, I'm like, "Yeah, I watched the documentary on this. I already know what happens. He makes it. He's fine. He does it like 3 times." Like I'm like that. I have a hard time. Like I just want to know what really happened.
Okay.
So it takes a lot for me to like really get into like a biopic.
Right.
And obviously they all exaggerate, change things for artistic license and whatnot.
But in
yeah,
this one, they let you know, right?
yeah, apparently the black and white and the color, he said the black and white is like objectively what happened or what people agree upon what happened. And then the color stuff is like, you know, what happened, but with like through an artistic lens. But yeah, it's a really good story. Cillian Murphy nails it.
Oh, he's fantastic.
I think it's the first time he is leading a Christopher Nolan movie.
Probably.
Yeah, because
I feel like it's his, well, besides Peaky Blinders, like a huge, the whole time I'm thinking, and I saw on like Twitter and stuff, people weren't thinking this, but it was me the whole time thinking he was in Red Eye. I just remember when he started in Red Eye.
He didn't.
Well, 28 Days Later, yes, but Red Eye was my introduction to Cillian Murphy.
Yeah, I gotta check that out. I think I have it.
And before we saw the movie, the trailer for The Exorcist was right before it,
Okay.
and I was thrilled.
I'm not
And
excited.
I felt so special because we got to see it.
Yes.
And it wasn't released yet.
Now it's on. Now it's released.
It's released.
Yeah,
We want to talk about it, but I'm
what is
excited.
it, David Gordon Green or Joseph Gordon Green? David Gordon
David.
Green. David Gordon Green. Yeah, I'm not really excited for another horror reboot from him so soon after the last one. Well, I have a whole video on this that didn't do well last year, so please go watch it.
Okay, we'll watch it.
I talked about how we don't need a reboot that explores the older characters because the TV show that no one watched did it so well. Better than it
I
had
have to watch it.
If you have Hulu, at least watch the first season because it's self-contained enough. Again, I went into it years after it had already gotten canceled. I think I watched Exorcist 3. And then me and my ex at the time, we were like, that show's on. Let's check it out. And we
Yes.
were like, we loved it. I watched it again. One of the girls that gets possessed is a blonde named Casey. I feel like Casey's not watching it because she feels singled out.
Nah.
Anyway, enough about Exorcist.
But it set me up for a really great time.
Yes. So it's about his life, him being investigated by the government, which he was always on thin ice with the government because he was never like a full outright communist. He wasn't a card carrying communist,
Gotcha.
but he, you see throughout the film, like he's open to their ideas and whatnot, and he associates with him. And during that time, like it got worse years later, but during that time, that was like not good. You shouldn't have done that. But yeah, the government knows that they kind of need him for this thing that they are planning, that other scientists around the world are planning. We get to see Heisenberg, which my brother-in-law, who didn't know who Oppenheimer was, he texted me going, "Who is Oppenheimer?" And I'm like, okay, look, I'll forgive most women not knowing who that is, but I feel like most men have to at least recognize the name. You don't have to know anyone else on the Manhattan Project, but you should probably know what the name Oppenheimer is.
Yeah.
What was your previous exposure to Oppenheimer?
I have no idea.
Didn't hear
not
about-
a good.
Didn't hear about him in school?
I don't remember. I didn't. I was like.
I
not
know.
there.
I know what your previous exposure to Oppenheimer was.
What? In Tenant, they talk about Oppenheimer.
Yes. No, but before that, in the original Jurassic Park, Dennis Nedry has a picture of Oppenheimer
Oh,
on his
he
computer.
does?
Yeah,
Oh,
there's
I
a
love
close up
that.
because
Good
that
for
movie's
him.
about science gone wrong, and it was like an obvious.
I was
reference.
in like really Barbie land listening to history class. I'm just gonna admit it.
But again, I do like the similarities between the films.
They're so similar.
Because Oppenheimer is like, hey, I'm trying to change the world for good,
No.
but I feel like it's mostly going to be negative.
Yeah, the whole movie you see him destructing just
Yes.
like the bomb.
Yes, he's breaking apart like
He's
an atom.
breaking apart.
And he's like, well, I really had good intentions, and what does this mean for the world? And Barbie went through the same thing. She's like, I thought I was going to help the world, but now I'm being told that I created some stereotypes and whatnot. I'm like, I didn't think the movie would have that many similarities.
It was all planned. It
And
had to
also,
have been.
the internet has pointed out that both actors have played psychiatrists who became evil and got beat up by Batman. Because
That's
Margot
great.
Robbie was Harley Quinn,
Yep.
and he was Scarecrow. I'm like, wow, I didn't even piece that.
There's so many similarities, and the scope of both films is huge. It's great.
Yeah, so this is $100 million. And the only reason I think it's so expensive is because Nolan likes to film on location, do a lot of in-camera stuff, and they shot this all in IMAX.
Right.
And I've sent you the picture, and you posted on socials. Apparently, it's 11 miles long.
And so if you shoot on IMAX, can you shoot both digitally and on film?
No, you
So
shoot on
only
film.
film?
You shoot on film, and then you scan it digitally.
Okay,
Like,
because I know Nope was also shot on IMAX.
Yes.
I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but you scan it digitally and edit it digitally anyway.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, the whole manually editing stuff, that's... I don't even know if that happens.
Oh my gosh, we had to do that in film school.
Yes. And the whole time I'm like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
I'm like, I feel like this is not preparing us for where the industry is going, but okay.
Well, now
Yeah.
AI.
Huh? Oh, yeah. That's going to be a whole other can of worms.
Anyway,
It's not really AI. It's more machine learning. But anyway. Yeah, so he
Energy.
shot on IMAX. And I honestly think this movie would have been way cheaper if he didn't. Because if you think about it, outside the Los Alamos on location, the explosions, like mostly people just sitting around in rooms talking.
That is true.
Yeah.
That's why, I was confused why people were saying it's such an experience. I mean, we did see it at our IMAX theater.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the only big part.
No, I
that's-
did like the outdoor visuals and whatnot.
Oh, they were awesome.
Yeah, and they filmed on different types of film stock.
But there's a lot of dialogue.
Because, the actual IMAX is still really loud. Christopher Nolan's really pioneered IMAX.
Uh-huh.
Because before it was used for, documentaries and stuff. And with his incorporating it into his films, he wasn't the only one, but he really pushed it. He's since gotten the technology to, get smaller cameras that are quieter.
Yeah.
The big problem is when you film, the things are so loud that you can't use any on-set audio. Usually if you're filming outdoors, you have to ADR anyway.
Right.
But it's just even in a room with just two people talking. Usually you use the on-set stuff, but it's now the camera's just going.
Yeah, the film cameras are. Yeah. They're loud.
When I was on the Dark Knight Rises, I was in the Dark Knight Rises, by the
Yeah.
way. They loaded the IMAX film for one shot. Because it's probably different now, but at the time I think you'd only do 12 or 15 minutes at a time.
Yeah.
and the film got like, I think it got caught in the gate and it shredded, and the sound echoed through the stadium.
Wow, that's so cool.
And like they
though.
loaded in, they said action, and you just heard.
Oh.
And then the guy who was like talking to the crowd, and he's like, "Ladies and gentlemen, that's $15,000 down the drain."
Oh my gosh, what a great experience. That should be
Yeah.
on the behind the scenes.
It's not for
Oh,
some
that
reason.
stinks.
Believe me, I've studied the behind the scenes of Dark Knight Rises to see if there were any close-ups or shots of me.
Yeah. Which is my favorite
Thank you so
Movie.
much.
of Christopher Nolan's of the Batman trilogy.
But yeah, the story is really good. Just exploring this guy's life, and a lot of it did happen. You know what one that didn't happen that the family's very upset about?
The frontal, the full frontal, which we were told was going to be seen. Is that
Yeah,
inappropriate
that
to
felt,
say?
that felt like a cop out, wasn't it?
It wasn't there.
I want to see him hanging dong. Didn't they show his dick in 28 Days Later when he's in the
I
hospital?
don't remember.
Well, now we just gotta watch.
Yeah.
No, the scene where he's mad at his professor because he apparently wasn't really. He was good with like the whole theory and stuff. but
Oh,
he
you
wasn't
mean
good
the
enough.
okay?
Yeah, he puts cyanide in the professor's apple, and it leads to a tense scene where Kenneth Branagh comes in as a different. I forget all their names, by the way. I know some of their
That's
names.
okay.
When he goes in, he's about to eat the apple, and he like says wormhole and throws it in the trash. Apparently, the Oppenheimer's family, they're like, he didn't try to kill anyone. Where did that come? They're like, that's a pretty. They like the rest of the movie, but like that part's a little rough. I don't know if it's in
I'm pretty sure that's accurate though. Like it's in every documentary that I've watched.
what the apple.
The poisoning part that he wanted to kill someone.
Really?
Yes.
I'm here. The family is saying that that's not legit.
Well, how would they know?
I don't know. Maybe
How
that,
would we know?
maybe that is a story that is told that people think is true, and that's why
It was
it's
just
there.
in something I watched on the true story.
Maybe people think it's a true story. I don't know. The family is saying. I mean, I guess they don't want people to think
Yeah, that he was.
that their like great grandfather killed more people than he actually did, inadvertently. I can see them being upset by it. But no, it's cool to see him like, hey, I have all these ideas and stuff, but the only way you can really test them is by making a weapon. And he doesn't really want to make a weapon, but they show that it's just like, he's Jewish and he sees what was happening in Germany and he's like, well, these Germans really don't like me.
Uh-huh.
And I know what it means if the Nazis have a bomb.
And they have Heisenberg, who Walter White named himself after in Breaking Bad.
Oh,
but circling
interesting.
back to my brother-in-law, I'm like, yeah, they have Heisenberg in it. He's like, oh, like Breaking Bad? I'm like,
Oh my gosh.
yeah,
That's
the
okay.
character in Breaking Bad specifically mentions who Heisenberg is. But yes.
Who played him?
I can't remember who played Heisenberg.
It wasn't Josh Hartnett, right?
No. People were shocked to see Josh Hartnett.
I was so shocked. I turned to Tony. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's him.
That also might be what inflated this budget a little bit. I'm like, look, not every character
Really?
needed to be played by a recognizable star. You probably could have just gotten anyone.
You know, I feel like they did just, this is going to sound bad, they
Yeah.
did just get anyone though, because the ones that were in it, I grew up watching these actors and they haven't been in many big
Josh
things.
Peck.
Josh Peck,
You said
Devin Bostick from Diary of a Wimpy
Yeah.
Kid. Like that just made me so happy. That was my favorite part. I felt like throughout the entire film, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's him. Oh, it's that guy from Halloween, from the new Halloween.
Yeah, the kid from the new Halloween.
Like, good for them.
Jack Quaid was in it.
Yeah, Jack Quaid was in it.
Which he's
Scream.
he's like in everything right now, so I understand like wanting to give him like a little role. But also
Okay.
people really want to work with Nolan. Like apparently
Yeah, but like it's up to the director, really.
I know, but like apparently Matt Damon was taking a break from acting, and apparently he told his wife, he's like, unless Christopher Nolan calls. So
Wow,
he
yeah, I was
did.
surprised to see him too.
Yeah, and he did really good in it.
That was awesome.
As a fan of like what Paul Newman did with the character, there's a lot of similarities. I like how he understands the scientist to a point because he was an engineer, but also he's
Yeah.
just like, you guys don't understand how important this is.
Why? How about because this is the most important thing to ever happen in the history of the world?
I love that they went into the Jean Tatlock story with Florence Pugh, which was also like a real thing. She was a psychiatrist who suffered with depression.
Wow.
Oof. That Oppenheimer is simping for.
I thought she'd be in it more than she was.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Just
so
to
so
use-
much of it is the Manhattan Project where he wasn't
Yeah.
really allowed to.
Gotcha.
But I thought she was really good in it. I didn't expect the Destroyer of Worlds quote to first pop up during a sex scene.
Oh, I know.
I did not expect
That's
that.
a kink.
Yeah, that is kink. But now it makes it weird. I'm sorry. Because I've seen that video many times of Oppenheimer quoting that.
Yeah.
The video where he looks like he's about to break down and he pulls out that quote. And now when I watch it, I'm like, oh, he's probably thinking of like when that girl was on top of him.
That's genius.
One says, now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
It's funny that he's like simping for her and that he's just cheating on everyone else.
Yeah.
He ends up marrying Kitty Oppenheimer, whose one of her former husbands was a communist who ended up getting killed. I like that whole thing.
Yes.
Where he's like, I'm
Is that
open
Emily Blunt?
Yes. I like. He was like, oh, I'm interested in these ideas. She's like, nah, screw communism. It got my husband killed. She's
Yeah.
like,
She was something.
an alcoholic. That was a fun. That's another thing. Okay. So as much as women are attacking Barbie, they're just, I mean, no, men are attacking Barbie. They're just louder and more annoying about it. What annoyed me about them was that I'm like, guys, you are doing what you complained about social justice warriors doing for like 6 years.
Yeah.
Where you're picking apart stuff, looking for things to complain. And right on cue, there are women and other people complaining about this movie. And they're like, not enough strong female characters. I'm like, well, actually, they go into the female characters a lot. But also, like, I'm sorry, guys, but it was mostly male scientists.
Honestly, like, it really didn't
Women
bother
are
me.
there. They're not totally ignored. They play a part in the story.
They're just telling the story of how it was.
What's her face? Oh, the girl. Was that the girl from Juno? Juno's friend? Olivia Trill?
She looked so familiar. I think you're right.
She was also in Dread. I'm looking at her.
because she looked so familiar.
Man, I'm sad Dread bombed. Did you see Dread with Carl Urban?
No.
The Judge Dredd movie, not the
Didn't hear
Stallone
about
one.
it.
The Carl Urban one was really good, but it bombed. It's one of those movies that was solid and it bombed, and she was great in it. She was like his rookie partner, and I thought if that movie had done well, I feel like she would be in a million movies right now. She was so good. But so if that is her, it was nice seeing her in this. But
she was familiar.
People are attacking this movie for being like mostly just male oriented. It's like, well,
That's
yeah,
ridiculous.
This movie's much like Barbie is more geared toward women. This movie's probably more geared toward men, but everyone could enjoy either.
Yeah.
They're also mad at other stuff. They're like, why didn't they show the bombing of Japan? I'm like, well, it wasn't really.
It's not needed.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not needed at all.
By the way, like people are real hung up on that. I'm like, yeah, it didn't show any of the war. Actually, didn't show any of the war.
And I thought that was going to be epic in a whole different way. The big scene, but there was no sound.
Yeah,
like it was horrific.
So one thing that this movie does, and I feel like I've seen some people complain about it. I think I joked to your boyfriend. Am I allowed to mention him?
That's okay.
I'm like, I feel like this movie could tell when people might start getting bored, and then it would just pump up the music and the editing would get more intense. And it's like, okay, something's about it would like wake you up. It's like it's like, okay, they're talking, they're getting real philosophical, starting to tune out. And Florence is naked again. Okay.
Yeah.
But it really builds to that first explosion.
It does.
And it's intense. I love all the stuff they go through, how they experiment with it, the theories they're coming up with, the dangers involved. I like that this goes into the possibility that the atmosphere would have ignited and killed everyone.
Right.
I don't know how I feel about the American government approving that without telling the people. I feel like that's a little messed up, but you gotta test it. But yeah, it really, I thought like the bombing would happen later, but no, it's kind of like toward the middle.
Very beginning.
Yeah, no.
The very beginning, there is like they show.
Oh,
everything.
they show explosions and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, like the actual test.
Yeah, it's like the midpoint.
Yeah, it was like the midpoint because then the rest of it is like how he was treated afterwards and how they tried to like sabotage him. Which I like how like, and it classic Christopher Nolan. It goes back and forth. It's not non-linear.
Yeah, and he has his mentor of Albert Einstein.
Yes.
Probably my favorite character in the movie.
Yes, who was also my co-star in The Dark Knight Rises. He's the guy in the pit who helps Bruce Wayne get out of the
This whole
pit.
time I was like, that's Al Pacino.
That was not Al Pacino.
That's Al Pacino.
I love, and you know what? And that's another good thing it does to keep your attention going. And the non-linear stuff helps with that.
Yep.
They show that there was a conversation that happened.
Oof.
And the whole time you really want to know what that conversation was about.
With Robert Downey Jr., who we haven't even talked about.
Yes, Robert Downey Jr. is a guy who we find out is like really trying to sabotage him. He has a lot of scenes with Alden Ehrenreich, who was Han Solo in that Han Solo movie, and I'm sure a lot of other. Oh, he was in Cocaine Bear this year.
Okay.
That movie was not historically accurate, but if you want to know about it, I talked about it on Movie Dumpster.
I need to see it.
Yeah, he thinks Oppenheimer turned Einstein against him and everything, and Oppenheimer embarrassed him at a conference.
Right.
I like that they show like Oppenheimer was not a perfect person. Okay.
No.
He liked the ladies a little too much. He liked the ladies. He liked
the
married ladies a
ladies.
little too much. I love at one point where they're like, they found out about the affair and they're saying that guy killed himself. Where he died of heartbreak over it. And he goes, that's nonsense. He never found out. Like, okay, buddy.
And then that he was accused of, right? He was accused of strangling Florence.
No, I think, okay, so what I like about this, I like that Nolan kind of got a little artsy with
He
the
did get
visuals,
artsy.
which I'm not
With
so
the-
used to him doing. I think that was like in his head. Maybe he felt guilty, so
Okay.
he imagined that he was the one who
And they
killed
show
her.
the glove. It's a split second.
Yeah, or maybe he thinks she was killed as a result of him, but really she probably just killed herself. She
Right,
was,
she was
super depressed. But the one scene that was like where they got really crazy with, there's a few, but the one where like he has to talk about his affair in front of that like council.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
He basically has a kangaroo court where like this court is just against him from the get-go.
Right.
He has no chance of winning. But yeah, he has to talk about the affair, and then the camera zooms and he's suddenly shirtless.
Yes.
And then Florence Pugh is like riding him in front of the thing while
I
his wife
know.
has to watch. I'm like, it's a little
We
not-
like
not-
this art though.
not very subtle, but like it really helps sell that scene more than if he just said it.
I completely agree. And that it reminded me of Legally Blonde too. And so did Barbie. So that's another thing.
Yeah.
They just both had similar elements. They both took inspiration from Legally Blonde.
Speaking of Barbie, when I was trying to explain like the whole girl power thing, I'm like, honestly, it reminds me of like movies like Legally Blonde, Miss Congeniality. It reminds me of movies like that
Yeah.
more than anything else. Anyway,
Oh, good. That me too. That's like the fish out of water element that I've
Yeah.
missed.
yeah. So the bomb goes off.
Bomb goes off.
Apparently, it was all in
And it
camera.
was Josh Peck to set off the bomb. And he has a similar scene in Drake and Josh.
Oh, okay.
So I encourage you to find that.
I
And-
will.
Clip it in here.
Kind of awkward watching stuff with Drake at the moment, but I will
He's
watch.
not in it. It's just Josh.
Oh, okay,
I
good,
swear.
good. Apparently, the bombing was practical. I'm assuming it was
Right.
like
Everything was practical,
I'm
right?
assuming obviously it was not the actual explosion, but it was like scale, like scale miniature
Gotcha.
stuff. They obviously slowed down to look more
Okay.
dramatic, and I think there is video of the actual Trinity test. It doesn't look as
Cool.
like you've probably seen. It's been used in a ton of movies, like even a few Godzilla movies. You've probably seen footage of like the Bikini Atoll bombings, the bombing they did in like the water, the big hydrogen bomb.
Jaws 3.
Huh?
Jaws 4.
Was that in there?
Jaws Revenge. I'm just kidding.
No,
It
no.
blows up.
No.
They use everything in that one.
No, there's a famous bomb testing in the ocean that has been used in a ton of movies. You've probably seen that. But the initial Trinity bomb, it doesn't look as intense as later nuclear bombs. So people were like, oh, I thought it looked bigger. I'm like, well, the first one wasn't that big. And I like the whole, because again, I love just seeing what's going on in his head with the whole
Oh, it was
moral thing.
awesome.
Because like he feels like he needs to make this bomb to stop the Germans.
Yeah. He was miserable.
But then the Germans kind of like are out of the war at this point, and he's like pushing and be like, hey, we don't need this anymore. And he was very naive. It's like, oh, dude, you had to have known that they were not going to stop this. And like, I do like the scene where Einstein, when he talks about the atmosphere blowing up, and Einstein's like, maybe you guys should try to send word to Germany that this is a possibility and stop
Right.
this from happening. And he doesn't.
Another connection. Albert Einstein makes a cameo in my movie that I wrote that is just like Barbie, just saying. So they're just all connected. It all comes full circle. Are we going to talk about when he was speaking to the crowd of people who are applauding him
Yes.
too?
So afterwards, I love that scene. That scene is
it
really
was my
good.
favorite scene. And that's when I was like, oh, so I didn't know I was going to come and see a horror movie.
Yeah. So he has to do this speech in front of everyone and be like, good job, guys.
Yeah.
And like the whole time he's thinking like what the people of Japan probably had to witness. And he's imagining like if it happened there. And they're all like stomping their feet and stuff. And like the light, they do it a couple times where like the flash from the blast just shows up to remind him. You just see people's like skin peeling away.
Yeah.
It'll never top Terminator 2. That'll
Of
always
course
be,
not.
That'll always be the most horrifying nuclear bomb
so
scene ever.
scary.
They should have had one person on a chain fence.
No, he steps into a body.
He
That's
steps
completely
into a body,
charred.
which I thought was really good. And I love seeing the crowd where some people are cheering and some people are celebrating, but then you see like some of the scientists are like throwing up
Yeah.
because they can't, because it was actually used, and they're like, oh God, this is horrifying. And like they show like the whole like the it'll be debated till the end of time. Like, should we have
Right.
dropped it on Japan in a residential area?
Ugh.
Because they explore like why in the movie they're like the military targets are too small, and this needs to be a demonstration because the Emperor of Japan, I think he like declared himself God and he was not going to surrender. And it's like they would have lost eventually, but the argument is like we would have lost so many lives by the time they surrendered. Doing this ended it so much earlier.
Yeah.
And I like that the scene where they're picking targets. I'm like, man, they are so casual about this. James Remar showed up.
Yep.
And he's like, we've limited to 10 cities. He's like, I took Kyoto off the list because I honeymoon there and it's very beautiful.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they're like, all right, who else are we going to bomb?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And Oppenheimer's like, what if we just demonstrate it or tell them? And they're like, nah, we got to drop it so they know. Yeah. So he's very conflicted about it. And then there was a plant there who ended up stealing it and giving it to other countries. So now he knows like the rest of the world has it.
Poor guy.
And yeah, it's cool to see like how like he tried to use his celebrity to like cause awareness and stuff.
Yeah.
I love all the stuff with the hydrogen. How do you feel about the guy who's like, we got to make a bigger one? He's like, oh my God, dude, relax.
Right.
The whole movie, which is in the real, what really happened. This guy was like, yeah, we can make an even bigger one. He's like, oh, you want to make them bigger? That's horrifying.
That's so scary.
Yeah, I was just captivated by it. This is a movie you really go in for the acting.
Oh yeah.
And the performances.
There's just so much dialogue and
Yeah. How do you feel about Christopher Nolan in general?
I really have no
Some people
opinion.
Some people get weird with him. Not so much now. Everyone thought he was like the greatest ever. And then there was like a pushback to that where like he's overrated. His movies think they're smarter than they are. And it's like, yeah, look, he tries to make his movies like more intellectual and stuff. Not that they aren't also cheat. Like I like what he did with Batman, but at the same time, they're comic book movies. He doesn't really lose sight of that. He does do big explosions and stuff in his movies.
Well, like you said, he's still one of the huge directors that we have.
I like what he does for film in general.
Yeah.
What he does for filmmaking. Yeah, I really like him. I think this was a nice balance of everything. It didn't get too weird at one point.
No, it was fun.
I really like the Prestige. And then the whole teleporting thing happens. I'm like, I don't think I was ready for this type of science fiction so late into the movie. But yeah, everything it fired on all cylinders.
Well,
it blew me away.
I do think this time around, like he is looking for like Oscar season.
Yeah, this was a little Oscar baity. I'll give it that.
That's what I'm.
I'll give it that. But no, I loved it. I thought it was good. It didn't actually, honestly, as much as I said Barbie dragged at the end, I didn't feel this movie's length. Did you?
No, I didn't feel like it felt like 3 hours.
No, dude. Meanwhile, me and Johanna saw Indiana Jones 5. And it's technically shorter than this movie, but like we were like, oh my God, when is this done? When is this fucking movie done? But no, this like flew by. Again, I think the music and the editing really helped keep you engaged.
Yep, my drink helped me too. And I don't drink.
Yes.
But yeah, it was a good experience overall.
We've been drinking a little too much lately. What do we got? Mimosas?
Mojitos.
We got mojitos the other day. And I swear they put NyQuil in it. I came home.
Yeah, that was really strong.
I texted you. I'm like, was there NyQuil in those mojitos? I'm like, holy shit.
That was after my Barbie photo shoot.
Yeah, I was the impromptu cameraman for that. Yeah, I feel like the movie raises a lot of questions. There's a cool debate. You learn a lot about this guy. Obviously, a lot of it's fabricated, so maybe look up a documentary or buy a book.
Book.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say
something.
definitely check it out. If you don't want to see it in theaters because it's long, I get that. Definitely check it out when it's on video.
Yeah.
You can take a break.
You kind of want to see it in theaters, but
yes.
you might need bathroom breaks.
You might need I don't think I did I take a single bathroom break in that one?
No.
I don't think I did.
You guys went before the movie started.
That's true.
But I know
did
that
for Barbie. But
tickets are still sold out. Like
really?
At least where there's our 70 millimeter IMAX.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still sold out.
Yeah, because they only have one theater there. So yeah, I totally get that. But yeah, I loved Oppenheimer. I feel like this is obvious. I liked it more than Barbie. But both movies were great. Again, you never would think that they would have similarities. But,
they're so much alike. Barbenheimer.
But the characters, like, again, what has their existence meant to all of humanity? They both go through that. Is it good or bad?
Yeah. Did you like the order we saw it in?
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I don't think I could have done it a different way. I like it.
Yeah,
I might want to see it in reverse just to see what it's like.
I'd be interested to watch it in reverse.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the first like Nolan movie in a while where I'm just like, I want to get that when it comes out.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, because after Dunkirk, I was like, I don't think I need to own that one. And then after Tenant, I'm like, I don't think I'll ever watch this again. But no, this one I would definitely want to watch. Because again, I am a fan of the story. I like the previous movie. I would say check out Fat Man, Little Boy.
Yeah.
It's not great. When I watched it recently, there's a scene where Oppenheimer just goes in to check on his son. And I don't think they introduced that he even had kids in that movie until that scene. And I was like, wait, what?
That's right. And I would say check out Life Size with Tyra Banks, which was the first live action Barbie movie.
Yes, I agree. Toy Story 3, if you want to see Michael Keaton as Ken, I guess.
Is it 3? Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't like 3.
Okay, we're not going to get into it. Yeah,
No.
they didn't even have a trainer Barbie. No fitness Barbie. I should have brought my fitness Barbie. But it was from Toy Story 3.
I did like the idea that Skipper went into the real world and tried to teach an infant how to surf. That was pretty funny. I want to see that movie. Yeah, I'm excited. Not that Barbie needs a sequel or should have it.
No, neither of them.
Oh, now they're making the mistake they always make. Now Mattel wants to start the Mattel Cinematic Universe.
What?
Yeah, they want to make
No.
They're trying to do a Barney movie, which they've been talking about for a while.
Well, Barney, I'd be interested in seeing.
Yeah, I don't know. You know what's funny?
That's Mattel.
Again, I said Barbie reminded me of, apparently it's on their list. Barbie movie reminded me of Lego Movie and Wreck-It Ralph. I love both those movies. Didn't see the sequels. The sequels just didn't grab me, and I'm hoping Barbie's not the same way. I'm really hoping.
No, they can't do that.
Yeah, I don't think it needs a sequel, but if they do
I feel like Greta Gerwig used everything in her brain for this one.
Although Cillian Murphy said, because they're like, would you be a Ken in the sequel? And he's like, yeah, I'll look at a script. Let's have a conversation like that. I kind of
I like how they're making him a part of the poster. I've been seeing that around.
And I like something that's been happening lately. Tom Cruise is really pushing it. Is like movie studios trying to promote each other. Like Tom Cruise, he really wanted people to see Mission Impossible, and he showed like, hey, I went to see Oppenheimer, I went to see Barbie, I went to see all of these. He did say The Flash was the greatest thing ever. And feel like he shouldn't have said that because I didn't mind it, but general audiences didn't like it, and they might not have taken his opinion seriously.
No, but I think you're right. Like, I may not have seen Oppenheimer if it weren't for Barbenheimer.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate big cinema. I'm just more of a pop culture person than a history person.
Yeah.
But my boyfriend would have wanted to see Oppenheimer, so I would have.
But no, that was the cool thing. People stepping outside their comfort zones, watching movies they probably wouldn't watch together in a theater. And having a good time. That was the thing. Like everyone looked like they were having a good time, and I can't remember anything like that before.
No?
Yeah, maybe like some big movies years ago, but yeah, it was cool to witness.
It would have been cool to see people dressed like you.
Yeah,
it was mostly pink.
Did you see?
Barbie.
Do you follow Allison Brie on Instagram?
No, I know who that is, but no.
Yeah, she posted her picture in the theater. So she's wearing like the hat and the dark suit, and then before Barbie starts, she like takes off the suit. She's got, like, a
I love it!
outfit.
I'm gonna repost that.
Yeah, it was just like a fun. I mean, it's gonna wear out probably by the time this episode airs, but it was a fun meme. I'm excited for whenever it happens again. Don't manufacture it though. Let's wait a little bit. No one wants to see Wonkpolian.
No
one's excited for
this was a one of its own, one of a kind thing.
People did point out it is kind of funny that there's usually a girly movie that comes out around the time Christopher Nolan movies come out.
Yeah.
What was it? There was Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants for Batman Begins, Mamma Mia for Dark Knight.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I wonder if the studios are aware of that. They're like, oh shit. You know what? His movies are gonna be like really big for like.
Weren't they Warner Brothers too?
Yeah.
Mamma
But I
Mia?
feel like studios are like, if we put out a girly movie at the same time, all the women who don't want to see his stuff will probably just go to ours by default.
I think that's cool.
It's a good strategy. It's worked in the past. Mamma Mia and Sisterhood had sequels. I'm sure Barbie will have 10 sequels. But yes. Let us know what you like. Did you see both? Did you do the Barbenheimer double feature? Which one did you like more? Did you like this episode and the color grading for it? Let me know. I'm hoping I don't have... you know what? I will settle for comments that say, I hate that your camera is black and white. No. As long as they're not like, you like the Barbie movie? Woke, unsubbing.
I appreciate it.
Guys, at the end of the day, it's a movie about a doll. for girls. Relax. And also women. It's a movie about men and the horrible, wonderful things they do. Relax. Everyone needs to relax. I think that's my main takeaway.
Calm down.
Just relax or just watch something else. I don't care. Goodbye, everyone.
Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out our other videos and Patreon page.